Hey everyone, it's time to Nefis and chill, and I'll be going over everything I've compiled from the 5 weeks of the public test server cycle for ESO's Update 37, otherwise known as the Scribes of Fate DLC. This video will be in regards to itemization and item set additions and changes, so anyone watching this can catch up on things they may have missed from the PTS or they just don't know about it coming back to the game. If you don't want to listen to me, I've also written all down for you on the ESOU website linked in the description down below. If you want to keep up to date with all things ESO, definitely subscribe to the channel, as that's one of the biggest ways you can support our further content creation. First, let's start with the dungeon sets from one of the two new dungeons called Bal Sunnar. So the first set is a light armor set, Right Master's Bond, gives you magical recovery, 4% healing done, and 1096 max magicka. The fifth piece bonus is quite interesting. Healing an ally within 12 meters with a direct heal creates a 15-meter tether between you for 10 seconds. This can occur once every 15 seconds though. You and allies touching the tether are healed for 2309 health every second, scaling off the higher of your max magicka or stamina. If you or an ally is overhealed by the tether, they gain minor heroism for 1.5 seconds. It is an effective cooldown of about 5 seconds. It's a big, distance for the tether, so it's pretty forgiving. And if you're worried about it breaking, I again think the major theme of these sets for Update 37 has mostly to do with PvP, more so than PvE. So just keep that in mind. The next is a medium armor set called Nyx Hound's Howl. Gives you weapon and spell damage pretty much across the board. The fifth piece bonus is completing a fully charged heavy attack, applies major cowardice to your target for 1 second per 1000 weapon damage you have, lowering their weapon and spell damage by 430. You then gain major courage for the same duration, increasing weapon and spell damage by 430. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds. This is a really interesting set, and I can see it working like duels and stuff because, well, on average, I would say 1v1 builds or even just really strong PvP builds have at least 6,000 average weapon or spell damage. So that's about, 6 seconds of major cowardice on your target, while you get 6 seconds of major courage if you don't have that buff. So yeah, I mean, I think this can be a potentially strong set in those kinds of scenarios. Other than that, let's move on to the heavy armor set called the Telvanni Enforcer. Max stamina, max health, max magicka, and the fifth piece bonus is, while bracing, blocking, increase your magicka recovery by 369. While you are not bracing, increase your stamina recovery by 369. It's an interesting tank sustain set, and I'd be curious to see how effective it would be in certain maybe PvE scenarios, but I think this is a great sustain set. I mean, that's a lot of magic recovery you're getting just from blocking, and when you're not blocking, you're getting almost 400 more stamina recovery. Yeah, I think some people will like it. Some people won't. Roxa the Warped, the monster set from Bal Sunnar, gives you 70 stamina, magicka, and health recovery for the 1-piece bonus. And the 2-piece bonus is, each second you are in combat, gain a stack of dark light up to 30 stacks max. Each stack of dark light increases your stam, mag, and health recovery by 8. So you can get potentially up to 240 magicka, health, and stamina recovery. However, each second you are out of combat, lose a stack of dark light. Next dungeon is Scrivener's Hall, and this dungeon drops the following sets. Runecarver's Blaze, and this is actually going to be a set to probably keep an eye on, even for PvE. Now, there was a big deal with this, and I want to clarify what was going on with this set. So Runecarver's Blaze was tested on PTS, at least in the first week, and it was found kind of lackluster. But then I think something happened about week 3 PTS or so when people started testing, I guess after a ninja change. But essentially, Runecarver's Blaze's proc damage and the guaranteed burning damage it gave is quite a bit, and that's why you'll see still some misleading 140k, 137k parses floating around some Discord servers because people were just kind of saying, "Oh my God, this is so broken," right? However, Zos noticed, and of course, people reported it, and I think in response to Skinny Chicks, who also posted on the forums about this, Gina said, to follow with the actual changes to this set, it will only activate on every third tick rather than only the third tick of a damage over time effect. And you'll see what I mean once I read this over. We're also reducing the damage done by Runecarver by approximately 47%, so almost half, and it will no longer guarantee to apply a burning each tick. Again, expect to see these changes when the update goes live in a couple weeks, and this was week 4 PTS or so. And yeah, I mean, this is, or week 5. And so the 5-piece bonus is your damage over time effects deal an additional X flame damage every third damage tick. This damage scales off your weapon or spell damage and always applies a burning status effect. This tooltip is not correct. It's just going to be updated. It's just that it is what it is right now in the PTS week 5, week 6. So yeah, just a heads up on this one. Definitely something to keep an eye on, potentially something to farm. Next medium armor set is Apocryphal Inspiration. Critical chance, stamina recovery, weapon and spell damage. You and group members within 28 meters of you gain major fortitude, major intellect, and major endurance, increasing your health recovery, magic recovery, and stamina recovery by 30%. And this, these buffs are given by, tri-restoration potions, stuff like that. So maybe in like a ball group or something like that, this could be something to use for a person who's a speeder, meaning the person who's providing the major expedition to the ball group or something like that. And maybe they can forego the use of tripods and go with something else, some other stuff. Although I have a suspicion that most ball groups these days don't really use just regular tripods. Abyssal Brace is the heavy armor set, max stamina, max health, and even more max health on the 5th piece bonus. And while you are blocking, you and group members within 12 meters of you gain minor evasion, reducing damage from area attacks by 10%. Not exactly sure if this is gonna be too useful for either PvP or PvE. It does demand perma blocking just for that minor evasion when there are so many sources of minor evasion these days, and honestly, you don't even need minor evasion. You can just have major evasion for like Blade Cloak. So yeah, not exactly sure how useful this is. So probably a hard pass for me. The Ozezan, the Inferno monster set, magic recovery, and the 2-piece bonus is a little interesting. Overhealing yourself or an ally, or being a keyword here, grants them 4,272 unique armor for 1.1 seconds. Healing yourself or an ally grants them minor vitality for 1.1 seconds, increasing their healing received by 8%. Again, this is more, I guess, more of a PvP thing to me than a PvE thing. For the rewards of the worthy sets, aka the PvP sets, that, or at least the sets that come from PvP activities, Snake in the Stars is going to be magic recovery, max magicka, weapon and spell damage, and a final 5th piece bonus of magic recovery paired with the actual set effect bonus. Applying a major or minor debuff to an enemy applies Star Venom to them for 4 seconds. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds. Whenever an enemy with Star Venom is healed, they take 1,240 Oblivion damage up to once every 0.1 seconds. An enemy can only be affected by 1 instance of Star Venom every 12 seconds. Yeah, I believe this was kind of looked at on PTS by being a bit too overbearing. So we'll see how it acts actually on the live server once it hits. Shell Splitter, we do have the next set. Offensive penetration, offensive penetration, offensive penetration. It's a very penetration-oriented set. 5th piece bonus is when an enemy blocks one of your attacks, increase your offensive penetration by 631 for 5 seconds. And this effect can stack up to 20 times. That's quite a bit of penetration. So 20 times 631. You can gain 1 stack every half a second. So you can get ultimate. I guess like it depends on like if a person is just perma blocking your attacks. So this is perfect for, just those tanks in PvP that just only hold block. Yeah, right? And you can gain penetration on them as long as they're blocking, and you can get it within 10 seconds, as long as they're blocking within those 10 seconds. It's an interesting set. We'll see how it performs compared to previous iterations of this. Like, I believe there were a couple sets like this in the past, a long time ago. Judgment of Akatosh adds 129 weapon and spell damage, max health, 2,291 armor. It's a unique. When you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport, or pull ability, you distort time on your enemy. After 3 seconds, the enemy bursts with temporal energy, reducing the movement speed of enemies within 12 meters by 70% for 6 seconds, and stunning them for 3 seconds. This effect, however, can be blocked and can occur once every 15 seconds. I think this is a major, like, anti-Zerg, anti-group kind of item set tool. So we'll see how this also kind of goes in the live server for PvP. And as for other item set changes, we do have Swarm Mother's poles being considered now a soft taunt. Soft taunts do not apply to Void Bash, Rush of Agony, and Dark Convergence, and I have a video where I covered what the new soft taunts look like in the review of what tanking feels like on update 37, if you guys want to go watch that. Fawn's Lark cladding's issue, where some of the set effects could be stuck on you, has been fixed, even if you take it off. Night Terror's issue, which is an overland set, where the tooltip bonus for the item set was listed as up to 27% sneak radius detection, was corrected to the actual 10% of the set that it gave. 7th Legion Brute not activating off of the minor resolve given by Resolving Vigor has been fixed. Stygian could still be procced outside of combat, and that has also been fixed. Vesture of Darlock Bray's 4th piece bonus scaled with Night Terror's quality gear if you equipped it with that set rather than its own, which has been fixed. Archdruid Deverick, the monster set, has been given a new rectangular hitbox, like 7 meter by 5 meter, rather than a conal hitbox, similar to Alkash. Lady Maligda's damage is now correctly identified by the game as AoE, rather than single target, and can now hit invisible targets. Crimson Oath's Rive can no longer be activated or procced outside of combat. Ironblood's visual effects do become visible now to enemy players, and that has been fixed. There's also been other major changes I'll go over here shortly. So a lot of people know that for the longest time since Elsewhere and the Dragons came out, Dragons had these unique hitboxes, or number of hitboxes, where tether sets couldn't really proc on them reliably unless you stood right under them, which is a death sentence. So things like Zan and Malubeth the Scourge just did not hit the hitboxes of Dragons, but now they can. So the following list on the video is going to be pretty much all the sets that will work on the hitboxes of all Dragons, whether it's in Sunspire or in Overland. So Alessia's Bulwark, Auroran's Thunder, Banie's Torment, Beckoning Armor, which is more of a skill than a set. Deadland's Assassin, Death's Wind, Force Overflow, Kind's Kiss, Glacial Guardian, Grothdar, Lady Maligda, Night Terror, Noble Duelist Silk, Point Blank Snipe, Riposte, Savage Werewolf, Scourge Harvester, Selene, Spiked Armor, which is the Dragon Knight's skill, Stone Husk, Swarm Mother, Twin Sisters, Wrath of Elements, and Zan will all connect with hitboxes now. For trait changes, there have been changes to the traits of Bloodthirsty and Harmony. Bloodthirsty now grants a range of 210 to 350 weapon and spell damage against enemies under 90% health. And this is different from the previous range of 70 to 350. So if you notice, the ceiling has not changed, but the base has changed. And this is just kind of done to introduce a smaller power gap between the various levels of jewelry qualities, like white to gold, or purple to gold, or blue to purple. Harmony trait now grants up to 880 health, magic, and stamina when you activate its synergy per trait. This is quite good for your sustain. In fact, mathematically, it may be even better than having 3 infused magic recovery for sustain for tanks. And of course, the original trait effect of increasing the healing, damage, and shielding potency of synergies by 20% per trait is gone in favor of this flat resource gain. And of course, an issue where Harmony did not interact with synergies given to players by companions has been fixed. Lastly, the biggest itemization change is going to be the start of enchantment hybridization. Weapon and spell damage jewelry enchantments now both grant weapon and spell damage. So it doesn't matter which one you go with, they will both grant weapon and spell damage rather than only weapon or spell damage. However, physical harm glyphs now add 10 stamina recovery at all qualities, while spell harm glyphs now add 10 magic recovery at all qualities. And that's it. That's all you need to know in regards to the new item sets coming out. The item set changes and the itemization changes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.